Good morning. I'm here in Town Hall with members of the town board, Dan Panico, Neil Foley, Kevin Laval, and Jane Bonner, myself, Ed Romaine, supervisor, and we're here to talk about a new tax bill that we're sending out that will increase transparency and help taxpayers understand who they're paying taxes for and how much. And the guy behind this is none other than our tax receiver, Louis Marcoccia. He's the guy we make the checks payable to when we write out our checks, or the bank writes out our checks, depending, for our property taxes. Lou, tell us a little bit about this tax bill.
Thank you, Ed. The reason we went with this format was really two primary reasons. One, for transparency so the taxpayers could see where their taxes are going. Secondly, the state is adding more and more verbiage and language on the tax bill, and given the current length of the tax bill, the print would be too small for people to read. So therefore, we'll have enough room for growth, and it'll be readable.
So 2 pages.
2 pages. I just
Why
want
don't
to
you explain
discuss
it?
what's on here. The first page includes the library district and the school districts. And that shows how much taxes are paid for those 2 lines. And we also included information to our taxpayers, since we want to save money on mailings, to encourage our taxpayers to go online and see if they're missing any of their exemptions or if they qualify for more exemptions. You know, we're going to reach about 170 homes.
170,000.
170,000 homes. So we want to encourage every taxpayer to take advantage and to see if they qualify for what exemption. Here we have what's paid for the first half and second half. So this bill could be used for making out your income tax.
Whose bill is that?
Excuse me?
Whose bill is that?
I have permission from the taxpayer for this tax bill.
Is that your bill, Lou?
This is a real tax bill, and I did receive permission to display this tax bill, so there won't be a problem. But this is a real live tax bill. On page 2, we'll include the county, the town, and other. And we actually state that. What's going to happen this year, the state is proposing that we include language for bills that they will pass that will go here.
So you have room on the first page?
We have room on the first page, and we even have room on the second page.
And it won't be microscopic.
Exactly. And really, that's important, just to let you know that some towns are complaining to the state that they don't want the information put on the first page. They want it on the second page. Why? Couple reasons. They'll have to do some work in changing their tax bills, or they're not in a position to change their tax bills. So we're fully prepared to accommodate any Suffolk County regulations or any state regulation. So any additional verbiage we'll put here if it relates to the school tax, and any information will be related here to anything else. Also, what we're going to do, we want to hear from our taxpayers to actually make the 2 tax bills better. We're receiving a lot of phone calls, and we do want information. Based on the phone calls we get, we will make modifications to make it more transparent. So we may come up with a little different design. We may make these boxes bigger. So we want to be in a position to make the changes so people can read the tax bill as fully transparent as to what taxpayers are paying, and the ability to accommodate any changes without great technical changes that are needed.
Now,
So-
if you're dealing with the bank, you have a mortgage, in most cases, these bills get mailed to the bank.
No, all the
You get a
receipts,
copy.
Right.
all the receipts regardless
receipts,
if it's
right.
from the bank or not from the bank, which is about 50% of our taxpayers,
Right.
their taxes are paid by the bank. The individual taxpayer receives the receipt,
Not the bank.
not the bank.
Right, so that's important. So everyone's getting a bill, a receipt, so they have to understand it.
And that's key,
And when do
exactly.
we send these out, Lou?
The first, we're sending them out in 50,000, 50,000 in batches. And the reason for that is, we expect phone calls, and we want to be in a position to answer those phone calls. So we're staggering 50,000 over a 3-4 week
And
period.
this is the receipts.
These are the receipts.
And have you sent out the receipts from May?
We've sent out the first batch of 50,000 was mailed out on Friday.
For the second payment of the year?
For the entire year.
Year, okay.
For the entire year.
Okay, right.
Because you see here, there's a first payment and second payment. So what we're going to do, we're going to hear from our taxpayers. We have the ability to make whatever changes that we see that's dominant. Because like anything else, we could design something, a lot of people look at it, but when the real clients, which our taxpayers take a look at it, they may want additional changes. And we will be in a position to accommodate those changes. Because it really is all about, especially in the tax office, but the town, it really is about client services. It's about how do we better serve our clients, which is our taxpayers. And we need to respond to them in a very direct way with any complaints or concerns that they have. So we will be prepared to make further changes if we have to, based on the cost of that. The way we designed this, technically, we're in really good shape. It really is, it won't require additional money. It's within our budget. We set it up where we can really make virtually any change quite easily at this point.
But you're keeping the percentages. So for example, you personally, of all the taxes you pay, only 6.3% of those taxes
Correct.
are town taxes. And let's see, what's your school taxes? What's your?
Well, this individual, in which we got permission for, he's paying 74.77% in.
Almost 75% for school taxes.
And by the way, that's about the average. It goes anywhere from about 70 to 75% is school taxes, and the rest of 25% is everything else.
And considering how few people vote in their school districts.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
75% of your bill. The county's about 12% of your bill, and all the rest, all the other taxes.
It's about average. If you take a look at it, this is pretty much average as it relates to the displacement of the percentage. But again, the flexibility to make changes, more transparency. If we need to add verbiage, we'll make this smaller, and we can even print down here. So it really is totally flexible. So any requirement from the state, we won't have any heartburns. We'll be able to-
Or the county, yeah.
Or the county.
Sometimes they pass laws that you have to put in.
Correct, or
Right.
for the county, and I think that's important. The transparency issue is really the important piece, and to be flexible so we can make changes based on our customer, our client's needs, which is our taxpayers.
And although the tax receiver is an independent elected official that doesn't report directly to the town board or the supervisor, we are all supportive of this change. And Lou has spoken with all of us, because this change will allow people to pick up their bill and see, without being, a physicist or something, exactly the amount of money they're paying to each jurisdiction, what percentage of the overall tax bill, if there's any special taxes like there are under the, to explain some of that, and to put anything else there that needs to be put down. So this bill, the format for this bill, we're looking to make it more transparent, easier to read, easier to understand, so people know how their tax dollars and where their tax dollars are going.
And I think, as the supervisor said, that's exactly correct. Again, I really need to reemphasize, we are in a position, receive feedbacks, which we get, we mark them down, and if we see a trend that something is not as understandable, or the font size is too small, or whatever, we will take that into consideration and make those changes.
But the first batch of 50,000
Wa-
of the
was-
receipts
Went out Friday,
went out Friday,
This
and how many
Friday.
batches do we anticipate?
4, because we have about 4, we have about
About 200,000? Yeah.
About 175,000.
5,000 parcels, okay.
So what's the new verbiage that you had to add to the bill? Tax
Well,
amendment?
it's actually coming. There's
This is in
current,
anticipation.
yeah, there's current legislation, and it's definitely coming. And like I said, other towns have been, other tax receivers have been fighting against that because of, let's say, they're not as flexible with the technology.
They'd have
To
to change the
respond.
bill, they'd have to make it
A massive
two-page.
change, a
Yeah,
massive change.
It's gonna wind up being a two-page bill because of all the verbiage from
And
that
that's
the state has
for the
enacted.
residents.
Do you know
Right.
what type of
2 pages is the
information the
change.
state is going to be requiring?
I can get back to you
Okay.
with that. If you give, I will give you the specific details, yes.
But every town is gonna have to
I
take a
guess
look at
it's-
this. We're just ahead of the curve, thanks to Lou, because we know this is coming.
This is legislation that was passed and is awaiting the governor's
Right.
signature? Is that?
Yes, I actually believe it was, as a matter of fact, I believe it's a regulation which doesn't need any passage. So, John will get back to you, I will get back to you with that information. And they're still discussing it. The point is, Brookhaven's in a position, it's our normal process. We could virtually, way we set up, virtually do anything with the tax bill. We may take another look and maybe we'll make the fonts bigger. If we get a lot of complaints that the font, that the print size is too small, we can enlarge that. So we'll take all this information, so everything is flexible here.
But we're going to a two-page bill.
We're going to 2-page
The
bill.
reason we're doing it is to make the font larger for people to read, to make it easy to read, to leave room for any state regulations that would require additional verbiage. We're not going to try to condense something onto a one-page bill where it's microscopic and you really can't see it. This will make things clearer, this will make things more transparent, it will make it simpler to read and simpler to understand where your tax dollars are going. And in Lou's case, 75% of his tax dollars are going to his school district. With how much going to the town now? It looks like,
Let me see it, 6.34%.
right, thank you. So now you know where your money's going.
And it'll be easier to read and see.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It'll make you cry more.
Okay.
Does going to an extra page cost the town presumably more money?
Interesting, the mailing, because of the weight of the paper, no, because the biggest cost is postage.
Right.
No additional cost.
How about printing the extra page?
Well, the paper comes, there is a cost, and it's like anything else. What do you look at cost as it relates to serving your client, and what is that cost? It's within the budget that we have. So yes, there is an additional cost as it relates to that, but overall, the cost is really very small. As a matter of fact, the paper we actually get from Suffolk County. Now, obviously, it will cost them more money, so the paper actually comes from the county. So from our perspective, as it relates to the town, there's no cost, but again, there is cost of producing the paper. And the question has to be, and I looked at that, is it worth spending a few extra dollars for the transparency, the flexibility? And I clearly don't want to put out a tax bill in which the font is 8-point or 10-point, 8-point font, and then get tremendous complaints that we're trying to hide something. I don't think we want to be in that business. This town, this board has focused on total transparency. If you take a look at the website that we have today versus 5 years ago, night and day. absolute night and day.
Live stream meetings.
Night and day. It's all about getting out there. So I wasn't concerned about the cost, even though I'm always concerned about the cost. But the main cost was the postage, no postage increase. And that was the key, because we made sure we kept it at a weight that was fine. And besides, when I first got here, we used to mail it out at first rate. I used bulk rates there. So I saved about 25, 30% of the postage almost the first month that I was here. So that saved some money.
Great job.
So no postage cost, which is the big ticket item.
Otherwise, the information is currently on the statement is the same as on the current statement. It's just
Correct.
Providing the extra space for future.
Correct.
official.
And again, when we get feedback, and we're writing the feedbacks down, the staff is doing that, and if I see a trend, or if we're going out there, and we're gonna ask them about the bill, and there's a trend there, we'll make the change. If it makes sense, we will make the change. Because it's about their clients. You can look at it one way, and somebody else looks at it differently, so we wanna hear from them, and we have. We've received hundreds of phone calls, which is good. This is exactly what we expected. And anytime we do anything, we'll get phone calls. And that's why we did the mailing out of 50,000. If I mailed out everything in one shot, too many phone calls, and I don't want to pay for overtime to answer the phone. So that's why we did it that way. And it will be mailed out on the same schedule that we're scheduled to mail out the receipts. So there's no delay. in any
50,000 a
process.
week for 4 weeks.
Yes.
You did the first 50,000. You
Friday,
waited,
next Friday.
right, you waited for any feedback. And
Correct.
At
And
the
we'll get-
end of that, next year, if we have to, we'll revise the bill. But right now,
Correct. Even
Right.
before that, what
Right.
we'll do after all the feedback, and after we go around, because I don't really need that much time, so when we go around and talk to people, then in September, October, we'll make whatever changes is necessary or makes sense for us to do.
but
Like I
as of
said,
today, as of last Friday, Brookhaven Town went to a 2-page tax bill to make the bill larger, more transparent, and let people see very easily where the money is going.
Correct. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. And I think we're the first town in Suffolk to go to a 2-page tax bill.
I think it's Suffolk, yes.
Yes,
I
in
think
Suffolk
so.
County, we're
I
the
think
first
so.
town in Suffolk County to go to a 2-page tax bill. But it will make it easy for people. They won't have to be hunting all over the place. Okay.
Thank you.
Good job, Will.
Nice to see
Thank
you,
you.
Paul.